What is it like to do business across Canada? With the different provinces, is it different, besides just the landmass involved? I mean, does it flow fairly freely?
It does, and it's something that provincial governments have been working on. In 2009, a number of provinces signed an agreement called, they refer to it as TILMA, Bilateral Trade, Investment, Labor Mobility Agreement between Alberta, BC, and it was meant to remove trade barriers that restricted the free movement of goods and services across Canada. In Canada, only this past summer, we changed a law that had been on the books since the 1920s that prohibited in my province, British Columbia, we have a diverse climate. We've got desert, we've got vineyards, we've got snow-capped mountains, we've got everything. This law, going back to the 1920s, prohibited a vineyard in BC from selling Doug a bottle of wine and having him take it home to Ontario. We got rid of that law.
Let me just quickly add one point. The only I shouldn't say real barrier, the only obvious barrier is somewhat with respect to language, and that's in the province of Quebec. Doing business in Quebec, you have to understand one thing, and I think it was mentioned today. The business in Quebec, same laws, it has civil law, but basically it's the same rules, same concepts, same ethics. Everything's fine, and slightly higher tax rates, unfortunately. But the number one issue what people don't realize is that the language there, French is first. You may be running your business, and you may have your accounting or administration done in the US. They have to correspond in French. If you send them a letter in English, they will eventually reply, but in French. Okay? It's a one-way street. You can call them and go through the 1-800 number and eventually hit 9 for English, and you wait a long time, and you'll get somebody who speaks English, and that's about the only time you'll get English service. But anything written is in French. Some firms have to do statements in French, file them in different and have English statements and French statements. But the truth is, when you're dealing with business to business, you need people at ground level in the province who are bilingual. And your staff, if they are corresponding or dealing with them, have to be somewhat bilingual. Otherwise, they will rely on those people to translate even the simplest tax letter.
So in other words, don't do business in Montreal.
I just say,
Okay.
As you may know, both English and French are official languages in Canada. In our office, in Vancouver area, there is a Francophone community, and we have 3 or 4 staff members who are fluent in French, and we serve a number of the Francophone businesses and nonprofit organizations, and we produce financial statements in French. If I get a speeding ticket driving down the road in Vancouver and I take it to court, I have the right to require that my trial be held in French. Now, for me, it wouldn't do much good, but I have that right.
Yeah, we've had 2 tax cases in GST because we have officially a dual language country. Officially, I think I forgot the case now, a GST case where the French version was different from the English version, and they won because they went to court on the French side. It was a importation of something, self-assessment issue. So that's been rectified, but these anomalies do occur, so that's why it's important just to recognize it's a dual language country, but one province adheres to French only.